Stand by. Oh, there I am. What's up, party people? KeysDAN, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Smarter? It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. One more time, DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote, and maybe you could have me at your next event. You know I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Are you not entertained? Let me entertain you. This week's shows, hey, it is Friday, and Friday night, you know what time it is. It's time for the RAB. It's my regular Friday night gig. That's the RAB in Conway, Arkansas. Video dance party karaoke jam. Yeah, I said karaoke. You're the stars of the show on Friday nights at the RAB in Conway, Arkansas. If you're anywhere in the area, you get to the show. Get there now. Do it. Do it. I'll be there in just a little bit. Also, if you'd like to tell your story or hear the stories of others, I encourage you to check out my other podcast. It's called What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. Now, on with the show. Today on the program, 10 things you need to know today. For Friday, January 28th, 2022. 10 things you need to know today. Number 1, Biden says Supreme Court overdue for first black female justice. President Biden reacting to liberal Justice Stephen Breyer's plan to retire from the Supreme Court reaffirmed his pledge to nominate the first black woman to the high court. A milestone he said was, quote, long overdue, end quote. Breyer, 83, met with Biden at the White House, where the president praised him as a model public servant. Biden vowed to nominate a replacement by the end of February. He has already met with one of the potential nominees, Ketanji Brown Jackson, 51, one of Breyer's former clerks. The president interviewed for her current job as an appeals court judge in the D.C. Circuit. Breyer's retirement before the fall midterms gives Biden the opportunity to pick a justice while Democrats control the 50-50 Senate. This is according to the Associated Press and the Washington Post. Number 2, economy grew last year at fastest pace since 1984. The U.S. economy grew by 5.7% in 2021, its strongest growth since 1984. The Commerce Department reported Thursday. In 2020, it shrank by 3.4%, the largest drop in 74 years. The turnaround came after the federal government provided trillions of dollars in COVID-19 relief. Growth picked up in the fourth quarter as companies managed to partially restore inventories that had been depleted by supply chain disruptions caused by the pandemic and strong demand. The recovery and supply problems have resulted in high inflation as well as strong job growth, which have made it possible for the Federal Reserve to map out plans to wind down its efforts to boost the economy with asset purchases and near zero interest rates. This is according to Reuters. Number 3, Russia, U.S. push diplomacy despite stalemate in Ukraine crisis. Russia and the United States said Thursday they remained open to diplomacy to resolve the Ukraine crisis, although Moscow said it was clear the U.S. and its NATO allies were not willing to address its security concerns. A day earlier, the U.S. and NATO submitted written responses rejecting Russia's demand that Ukraine be barred from NATO membership. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said Russia, which has massed 100,000 troops near its Ukraine border and raised fears it plans to invade, needed time for review the situation. That's how it said. Needed time for review the situation. But that the U.S. and NATO responses left little reason to be optimistic. President Biden reiterated to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Thursday that there is a, quote, distinct possibility, end quote, Russia could invade Ukraine in February. This is according to Reuters and the Associated Press. Number 4, Affordable Care Act enrollment hit record 14.5 million. A record number of Americans, about 14.5 million, have enrolled in health coverage through the Affordable Care Act insurance marketplace this year, according to a report released Thursday by the Department of Health and Human Services. The total smashed the previous enrollment high by nearly 2 million. The data marked a victory for President Biden, who has made expanding insurance access one of his domestic priorities. The White House responded with a statement in which Biden said he was proud to see, quote, the highest numbers ever produced in an open enrollment period, end quote. The 14.5 million included 10.3 million who picked health plans through healthcare.gov, the federal marketplace. Another 4.2 million signed up through in the District of Columbia and 17 states that run their own marketplaces. This is according to the Washington Post. Number 5, judge cancels Biden's administration's offshore and gas leases. A federal judge on Thursday invalidated a massive offshore oil and gas lease in the Gulf of Mexico, ruling that the Biden administration violated federal rules by relying on analysis that didn't fully take into account how the leases would affect the climate. In his first days in office, President Biden issued an executive order pausing new oil and gas drilling permits. 13 states filed a lawsuit, and a Louisiana judge blocked that order. The Biden administration, saying its hands were tied, offered 80 million acres for drilling leases in the Gulf of Mexico and sold 1.7 million acres of leases, netting nearly $192 million. Environmental groups sued over the sale, saying it was based on flawed assumptions from an outdated model, and U.S. District Court Judge Rudolph Contreras agreed. Number 6, Coast Guard calls off search for migrants missing since boat capsized. The Coast Guard said Thursday it was suspending its search for more than 30 people still missing after a suspected human smuggling boat capsized last weekend off the Florida coast. The decision came after search crews recovered 5 bodies. Quote, it does mean that we don't think it's likely that anyone else has survived, end quote. Captain Joanne F. Burdian, the commander of the Coast Guard's Miami sector, said in a news conference. The vessel reportedly capsized on the way to Florida after leaving the island of Bimini in the Bahamas, a country often used as a departure point for migrants from Haiti and Cuba. Only one survivor has been rescued, a man found clinging to the overturned vessel's hull. This is according to the New York Times. Number 7, Apple reports record quarter despite supply bottlenecks. Apple on Thursday reported record quarterly revenue and profit despite supply chain problems. The iPhone maker said revenue reached $123.9 billion in the last 3 months of 2021, and profit hit $34.6 billion. Both figures exceeded analysts' expectations and smashed company records. CEO Tim Cook said supply chain constraints are expected to ease in the current quarter, although it was not possible to project when the bottlenecks would clear up for good. Apple predicted it would see year-on-year growth in the first quarter of 2022. Apple shares rose 4% in aftermarket trading after the earnings report. This is according to the Wall Street Journal. Number 8, reports climate damage from gas stoves worse than previously known. Gas stoves emit tiny methane leaks even when turned off, contributing to more climate change than previously believed, according to a study published Thursday in the journal Environmental Science and Technology. Even when off, U.S. gas stoves emit 2.6 million tons of methane in carbon dioxide equivalent units per year, about as much as 500,000 cars, the California research team found. Quote, they're constantly bleeding a little bit of methane into the atmosphere all the time, end quote, said the study's co-author, Rob Jackson, a Stanford University climate scientist. The data on emissions around stoves in homes also raised concerns about indoor air quality and its impact on health due to high levels of nitrogen oxide. This is according to the Associated Press. Number 9, MSNBC reveals Brian Williams' replacement. MSNBC President Rashida Jones confirmed Thursday in an internal memo that Stephanie Rubel, who anchors the morning show, Stephanie Rule reports, will replace Brian Williams as host of the 11th hour. Quote, Stephanie has been a staple of our dayside anchor team and a trusted voice on topics at the intersection of politics, finance, and international business, end quote, Jones said. Rule also will appear on the network's other platforms as NBC News senior business analyst, Jones said. Williams announced in November that he would be leaving after nearly 30 years with NBC News, saying it was, quote, the end of a chapter and the beginning of another, end quote. Williams moved to MSNBC from the NBC Nightly News after a controversy over false statements he made about his experiences covering the Iraq War. This is according to Axios. Number 10, East Coast braces for powerful winter storm. A major winter storm is threatening to hit the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic with hurricane-force winds and heavy snow this weekend. Quote, a winter storm is likely to create significant impacts across New England Friday night through Sunday, end quote. The National Weather Service said Thursday, quote, notable impacts may also extend south along the East Coast through North Carolina, end quote. New England could get the heaviest snow, with more than 20 inches possible in eastern Massachusetts, Long Island, Rhode Island, and Cape Cod. New York City could get 6 inches of snow or more. The Weather Channel said the system could develop into a powerful nor'easter starting late Friday. This is according to CBS News and the Weather Channel. That's 10 things you need to know today for Friday, January 28th, 2022. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks for putting up with me. I know I need to learn some things. I need to keep up with current events. And while I have this broadcast software in front of me, might as well take you along for the ride if you so desire. If you'd like to tell your story or hear the stories of others, I encourage you to check out my other podcast. It's called What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. And if you're anywhere in the Conway, Arkansas area, central Arkansas area, come on out. Come join me. Come meet me at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. The Video Dance Party Karaoke Jam. They got pool tables, full bar, kitchen. Yeah, lots of fun. Friday nights at the Rab, Conway, Arkansas. That's it for this edition of What Makes You Smarter. It's KeysDAN, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.